cool. Ready to roll?
Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. We have another very special guest, Mr. Antonio Ingram. Give it up for him.
Yo, glad to be here.
And this episode is brought to you by Relentless Pursuit Apparel. Check us out at Relentless_Pursuit on Instagram, Relentless Pursuit _ headquarters or HQ on Instagram as well. And also, we have my co-host, Mr. Logan Hyder with Cinema 83 LLC. Check him out for all your needs when it comes to recording podcasts, videography, and all that good stuff. He's the best in the business, and I couldn't do it without him. So thank you, Logan. Glad to have you.
Appreciate you.
All right, my man, Antonio.
Yes, sir.
So we're just gonna kind of start from the beginning. We know you have your own like fitness company, personal training business. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what led to that and what you're doing with it. But man, I really haven't gotten to know you. You've come by before, checked the space out, but we're kind of strangers still.
Yeah.
So let's do that, man. Let's start from the beginning, man. Go back as far as you want to. Maybe tell us about your upbringing. A little bit about that, and we'll go from there.
Cool. Well, man, not too different from a lot of people, man, coming up. I come from a small town, man, Jackson, Tennessee. Mother had me when she was 16. Like I said, four kids. So I pretty much grew up with her, right? She's working 2-3 jobs at a time. You know what I mean? So me, being the oldest, I'm watching my siblings for a while. They got kind of tiring, you know.
You were the oldest, you said?
Yeah, I was the oldest out of 4 kids.
Okay, shit.
So I got a brother, 2 sisters, right? So while she's at work, I'm watching them. I'm sort of the parent, making sure everything's good, cooking for them, whatever, making sure they got what they need to get done. Got kind of tired of it at 15. Thought I was grown, basically, right? Thought I was hot shit by that time, and I'm, pretty much kicking up dust outside of the house, outside of school.
We had to grow up fast, man.
That part.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're taking care of your siblings. Like,
Yeah.
I can't relate to that. So
Yeah.
You're cooking for them, keeping eyes on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of responsibility at a young age.
Now that I say that, maybe not so much, I won't say cooking, because really all I cooked was pancakes and macaroni and cheese and top ramen. So that was like the 3 different things I would cook for them. But anyways, so 15, man, thought I was hot shit, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm ready to get out, right? So me and her had a conversation. It was pretty much my time to go. I left the house at 15, right? Decided to do my own thing. By that time, I moved with grandparent, cousins, whoever would allow me to stay with them while I finished high school. Right?
So you're just floating around.
Right, because moms wasn't having the shit I was doing back at the house.
Of course.
Right?
Do you want to elaborate on what kind of stuff you're into, or like?
Man, just really, I mean, shit, 15, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just, normal kid shit, hanging out, not really coming home to 2 in the morning, got school at 6 in the morning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just kicking dust, right?
Yeah.
So she wasn't having it, which makes sense because she got 3 other kids who were looking at me, right, and seeing what I'm doing. And she's like, we can't have that shit.
At the time, you're probably like, what the hell? But now you get it.
Now I look back, I'm like, I wish like hell my daughter would be out. You feel me? Like that or whatever. Or my son when I have a son. But 15, man, I'm out. I'm doing whatever. Excuse me. By the time, I still graduated high school. So graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do once I graduated, right? So I took a year kind of just floating around, right? Still kicking up dust. I'm working a little steak and shake job at that point in time and doing some other things. And then I talked to you about before we started the podcast, had a young lady I was talking to in a relationship with who brought up the idea of going to college. I wasn't thinking about school because my school didn't really touch on going to college like that, which is crazy when I think about it. They didn't really touch on that. They didn't really touch on what to do afterwards. Or maybe they did. I just don't recall.
Did you have any idea what do you want to do afterwards, or you were just like going with the flow?
Going with the flow. You know what I mean? So working. I just knew I wanted to make a lot of money. Put it that way. It's really, that was it, right? I want to make a lot of money. I want to have some nice cars. You know what I mean? I want to live life.
There's a lot of ways to do that, but you got to find out. You got to figure out what you want to do.
And the way that I was going about it was not the proper way to do it, right? So me and her having a conversation. She's a straight and narrow kind of chick. I'm not. I thought I was hot shit. So, I don't know if you can relate to this, but like as a kid, you're hard headed, right? You probably like, a knucklehead, basically what you want to call it, right? So you just into some shit, right?
Yep.
So she was trying to get me to go the right way, but I wasn't trying to do that at that time until she left to go to college, right? And I'm like, well, damn, what am I supposed to do here? I felt like she just left me to a degree, right?
Yeah.
So I decide, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and apply to go to college. Don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to go for whatever.
Did you have good grades or anything, or?
What you mean?
Yeah,
Like,
how are your grades? Like, you know,
from high school?
Yeah.
Bro, shitty. Like, honestly.
Same. When did you graduate high school, by the way? How old are you now?
2008. I'm 32.
Oh, same thing.
Real shit.
Yeah, I graduated in 08, man.
Yep, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It feels so fucking long.
When's your birthday?
Man, June 13th. Man.
Okay, cool. I turned 33 in April, so
Real.
yeah, just a few months older.
Awesome. Taurus.
Yeah, Aries.
I don't know why I thought Taurus for. My daughter's an Aries. I should have known.
Taurus is right after that. So like
Yeah.
April, I think after like April 20th or something like that is Taurus to like May 20th. I love it. I get into astrology, man. I think
you?
it's man, it's actually pretty powerful stuff when
Yeah.
you actually study it more than looking at obviously memes on Instagram. It actually goes pretty in depth. But
Yeah, because memes on Instagram, man, just make everything toxic as hell.
dude, some of the most successful
Everything.
people in
Everything.
history were astrologers, man. Thomas
Yeah.
Jefferson, all the, like some of them, a lot of the Stoics and stuff were super big into astrology. So there's a reason for it, you know. But anyways, that was a little off subject. But so, all right, moving forward, you met a girl. You didn't know what you wanted to do.
Yeah, man. So she ended up going to in Middle Tennessee State University. And I decided, I didn't graduate, but my grades. So you asked about that grades, man. GPA was a 2.1 when I graduated high school,
Nice.
which is crazy when I think about it. Because got to college, still boom, around a 2.0 GPA in college. I literally, bro, when I thought about it again, I know like I said before the podcast started. Came to school because the chick was like, you need to get your shit together. I'm like, well, I'm going to come get my shit together. Well, you getting your shit together, right? Got here. She found somebody else, right? Broke my heart. It is what it is, right? I'm here. I'm going to school for business management,
Yeah.
right? Was my idea. I'm like, again, I want to make a lot of money. And if anything, I'm going to school for business, right? But I'm here going to college, and I'm really realizing once I got, 2 years in, I'm like, I'm here, but I'm really just hanging out. Right? I'm really not getting anything from it that I want to do, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to have something for
course.
me, right? But I'm not learning it here, right? They got me doing general ed. They got me doing the basics, right? They got me doing some fucking hate accounting.
Oh, dude. I've talked about this multiple times. So I went from like trying to be a nursing major to business because I was like, hey, that's a smart idea. It just applies to everything. Same. I want to succeed. I want to fucking make a lot of money. And man, accounting was the worst, bro. I was like, I can't do this for 4 years. Like, I have no interest in this. I hate learning about it. And even then, like most accountants are like, dude, it's not like that. But yeah, accounting sucks. So yeah, I got out of business quick. But
It probably would have been useful for me now, but I hated it.
same.
hated
Now I run a business and I'm like, shit. But
hire somebody who's good at
Hey,
it.
there it
Exactly.
is. There it is.
then there's a lot of like self-education you can do, man. There's so many good books out there that are pretty easy reads as far as business goes. And like finding mentors, man, finding people that are in the same line of business that have made the mistakes, that know what they're doing. You know, I got a CPA.
Yeah.
That they handle my shit. You know, I don't mess with the financial stuff because it would just make my head explode.
But it's like then when we were going to college, man, there wasn't, like now, like finding mentors online and things like that. And that's big now. Like it's more acceptable. I don't think it was more as acceptable then. We were coming up. It was more so go that college route to learn. Make a long story short, bro. Man, got the MTSU, man. Figured that wasn't it. Dropped out of school there. Decided, I'm gonna work. Right, so I'm working, factory job, warehouse job, still at Steak and Shake. Still at Steak and Shake after 5 years, right? So I'm working 3 jobs, doing what I need to do. And
Love me a Frisco melt, baby.
what's that?
The Frisco melts.
Man, listen, I used to work the third shift too, man. So my homeboys come through. Oh, I got you. You good to go.
Hell yeah.
You good to go. But and I was again in this abyss of being lost, didn't really know what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Just again, know I needed to, but I didn't have any skills, anything. I learned some things from school, but I more so had networked. So I'm thankful that I did go to college because I networked, even though I didn't finish it.
Were you an athlete or anything?
In high school, I was.
Yeah.
So middle school, high school, I played basketball.
Cool.
I don't know why I ain't touched on that, man, but yeah, so growing up, I was somewhat athletic, but I was not as good as I thought I was, which is the sad part when you come to that realization.
Yeah.
Man. I thought I was hot shit.
you.
Really, I thought I was going pro. Bro, that was my, you know what? That was my number one, like, drive and thought process coming up was
Pro
I'm
basketball?
going to the NBA. And I'll never forget, man, damn, now that I think about it, I'm glad you asked that, man, because this is where me and my mom kind of had that falling out. I was pissed when she said it, but it was true when I think about it. I was outside practicing, all right, me and my friends from the neighborhood, outside practicing because we was on the same team for the high school. And she came out and she was like, you know, I see you practicing, I see you putting in work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the league. You know, that's what I'm going to do. And she was like, well, if that was the case, you would already be doing this, this, and this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you would be there. And I don't think she meant to, like, shit on what I was doing, but it was like a wake-up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you should think about something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think in a lot of people, I hate to say it, but a lot of young people get pretty delusional, though.
Yeah.
Like, of course, anybody playing sports wants to they love playing that sport. Yeah. I mean, I would remember saying I wanted to be in the fucking NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the reality of that is,
well, it's an interesting balance because you're gonna like all the people that become great and do go to the league usually have stories like that too, where people said they weren't going to make it or said stop pursuing this, etc. So there is a balance there, but I think that it's a matter of like the awareness that you have of like, and to her point, I think that's a fair point too. I don't know when she said that to you, but especially nowadays, there are certain checkpoints that like, okay, if you haven't been invited to a camp, if you haven't heard from a coach and you're like a sophomore, junior in high school, it's like you could be that person, you know, who has that story, to your point, like if you were going to be LeBron James, you'd probably know it by now, you know. And so it is a balance because again, you are going to get those people that say that, and you do have to push through that anyways, you know. So it's both. I think it's a lot of awareness by the people around you. Exactly. Like, is somebody saying that to you to shit on you? Yeah. And because they're jealous of you, or you know, for whatever reason, or are they saying it to you because they care about you? You know, like, hey, I'm just letting you know what I've seen and what I see in you.
And my mother's blunt. So like I said, I don't think she was meaning to like hurt my feelings, but she was like, listen, goddamn it.
And there's also the aspect too is like looking back, you know, you look at the guys that are pro athletes now, they weren't just going to practice and playing the games.
Right.
They were doing a lot of extra shit.
That part.
They were consistent in the off season over and over and over again, constantly practicing, honing their skill.
Yep.
I didn't do none of that shit, you know? And so that's another aspect. Maybe, who knows, maybe I would be in the NFL if I just practiced year fucking round. But no, I was concerned with girlfriends and going to parties and being cool and shit, you know? So, like, yeah, I honestly didn't earn the opportunity to go to the NFL too, because a lot of people you got to put in that extra fucking work, you know, with anything you do.
So you took that conversation pretty bad, basically?
When I think back on it, I did. Yeah. You know, the coaster was stuck to my damn can. Because it was like, because again, like you just said, bro, like at that point, I was a sophomore. So you're already doing other, like those kids who are in the league now were already doing other things. Yeah. I'm in my fucking driveway practicing. You know what I'm saying? So she was just being real.
And it's okay to love something too. Yeah. Like love something and put work and like effort into it and not like have to like, even as an adult, you don't have to monetize everything. You can just like paint just because you like painting. Like Charles does that, right? Like,
bro, I'm not playing basketball now out there. Shit.
Well, yeah.
Man, you feel me? At 32 now?
Well, like, you ask for an Achilles tear if you do that.
That part. No matter how much you stretch. No. And those folks out there be playing like they in the league too? No.
Dude, I would love to play some pickup. Like as I got older, I played more, and I wish I would have played more. And like now, I'm like, I'm not about to go out there and try to jump around and shit, dude. I will get my and even football. Like I'm trying to run a route right now. Like my knee would be like, no, we're good on that.
Hey, I know all about that. Getting jacked up.
I love it.
So you were an athlete, and so that was kind of what caused that whole eruption between you and your mom, or like that disagreement. And then so moving forward, you're in college, you're working 5 jobs, you're a little lost.
Yeah. So that wasn't what caused the disagreement between us, but it was it was a wake up call. So I was like, again, went through damn, well, what the fuck do I do? Because this is all I was focused on. Was playing ball, right? But again, woke up, shit, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Now what do we do, right? Never really had someone kind of, hey, let's go try these different things to see what you like. Yeah. Right. So just floating, basically. Right. Went to college, didn't know what the fuck I still wanted to do. Wanted to do business, quote unquote, right? Just know I want to make some money. This ain't doing it. Let's drop out because we spending money for no reason at this point because the degree ain't gonna do shit for me if I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I know I don't work for somebody else, right? Because that's what it's gonna probably turn into, getting this degree. right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm working, and at this point, about a year and a half after dropping out of school, about a year and a half after dropping out of school, was presented with opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of a company called Herbalife.
Herbalife, yeah.
Herbalife.
I know Herbalife, yeah.
Okay, so I was working out, sort of, at this point, but I was just trying to get myself together, right? Because I had, by that time, years of college, you feel me, drinking, partying, you feel me, just hanging out, right?
Yeah.
I had I've always been very lean, right? So I had a fucking keg on me at that point, right? You know what I'm saying?
So you're lean with a keg.
With a keg, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me start to get myself together. I was posting this when Instagram first came, like 2014, 2013, somewhere in there.
I was there.
He said I was there. So posting, someone in California had messaged me about like opportunity, like to present fitness and health and, you know what I'm saying, make some money. I'm like, well, shit, like, okay, cool. I'm seeing how the people she's involved with are living, right, and how they're doing and like how they're spreading health and wellness, right? I want some of that, right? Okay, cool. So I start doing Herbalife, and about 6 months to a year later after doing Herbalife, I'm doing all right? My mother gets ill. Now, growing up, my mother had been in and out of the hospital quite often.
Yeah.
She's pretty much due to stress. Like I said, she worked 2 to 3 jobs all the time and raising 4 kids. So I can only imagine, like, shout out to all the parents out there, especially the mothers, like who raise kids on their own and have to be both the mother and father and provide and take care of everything. Like, this shit is a lot. Like, I get it. And again, shout out to all parents, but specifically the mothers, because I know this shit is hard. So she's in at the hospital again. And I know it's due to her lack of exercise and lack of proper nutrition, right? So I had learned some things by this time. So I'm giving her some of my Herbalife products, right? She's starting to do like some yoga, some Zumba. She started to exercise more.
A little bit of progress.
Right. And to see this lady go from the state she was in at that point to a complete 180, like, I'm like, shit, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I was able to help my mother, who's the most important woman in my life, right, to become a healthier version of herself.
Yeah.
I want to feel like this all the time.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a good feeling, man.
Yeah.
It's because you changed your mom's life.
Right.
That's beautiful, dude.
Exactly.
Hell
Because
yeah.
at that point, like, I didn't feel like I was attributing much to society at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really have, like I said, I've been floating pretty much through just whatever at this point. Now, oh shit, this I think is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because it was like once that happened, then I started attracting different kind of situations.
Of course.
Right? So then I got certified as a personal trainer. I wasn't certified, I was just like a health coach, right? I got certified as a personal trainer, I got certified as a nutritionist, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this serious, right? And then I was 25, 26 by this time. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's really turn this into something.
Yeah.
Right? So that's pretty much how my childhood went, and how at this point I became a certified coach.
When was this? Trainer. What time frame was this?
Certified coach trainer, 25, 26. So this was like what?
2015, 2016?
Yeah, 6 years ago.
That's about the same time I started training people.
Bro, we got a lot of shit in common right now.
Yeah,
dog.
dude.
That's when I started doing videos, was 17, beginning of 17.
Really?
Yeah, so 17 when I got back from Asia is when I started training.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
So
that's when I started taking it serious. Like I said, I was health coaching. You know, I was selling. Really, man, not knocking anyone who does Herbalife. So please don't take this personal.
Hey, I was about to jump in on something there.
But I felt like a product pusher, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't really a coach. That's why I was like, okay, let me become certified certified coach, right?
Yeah.
And then I can really teach people how like whole food works for you, how exercise works for you, things like that.
If anything, though, it sets you on a path.
That part.
You know, so yeah.
Well, and it's an example of like the spirit, like the entrepreneurial type spirit. Like what I was going to bring up to you is that I did, I was in and out of school and et cetera, et cetera. There's a long story to that. But one of the times that I wasn't in school, like when I wasn't in school, I'd be trying different stuff, you know, and then I would kind of fall apart. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go to school in the meantime just to see, you know, I don't want to waste my time necessarily. So if I'm not going to be doing something, I'll try to be in school, which is why I don't understand people who like, you just like have anyways, that's another thing. But my point being is that one of the things I did was Avocare. So
love it. Yeah,
very,
I was
very
presented with
similar.
that. Yeah.
Very, very similar.
Wait, you do Advocare now?
No.
Oh, see, I'm about to say, like,
I didn't know that. You learned something today.
I did Advocare when I was like probably 2021, something like that. And a buddy of mine did it too. And, you know, it's, yeah, you're not going to make any excuses. It wasn't just because of this, but people definitely have a certain view of it. And I think there definitely are people out there that they see people making money and they don't really do it for the right intentions. But at that age, I was doing it and you were doing it to try to start your own thing, to have your own business, to get ownership of, you know, your shit, like et cetera, et cetera. We were doing it for the right reasons, just the wrong outlet.
That part. And great company, Avocare, great company, all great company. Like, but you just made something clear to me, like you just said about the entrepreneurial spirit. That's, when I think about it, that's what it was. Because I also did something else that was similar before I became certified.
You were just trying
similar
things.
to that. Right. I was just trying some things, but they were all health related.
Yeah.
That's what that's what my boy Gary Vee always tell you about. Or you like him too, but
Yeah, I
you
like
probably,
Gary
if you don't
Vee
know
stuff.
Gary, you got to know
of course,
Gary.
bro.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
right now, Gary Vee.
I've seen your social media. You got to know Gary.
come on.
But that's one of the things I love that he says. He's like, and I mentioned this on the last podcast. If you're 20, 21, I mean, shit, even if you're 25, 26, you go try a bunch of stuff for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're still 26, 28, 30 years old, and you've tried 10 different things, and now you know what your thing is, and now you're done with that part.
Yeah.
So like that's basically what you're doing, and what I was doing was trying different things, and like up until the moment that I went, you know, I had my own YouTube channel for a little while, and that's where I learned how to do all this stuff. And I had a list of different things I was trying to monetize with, and training was one of them. That's why I did that at Gorilla. But the only thing probably on the list that I didn't have was making videos for other people. For whatever reason, that just did not click. So I tried a bunch of different shit, and then eventually somebody asked me to do it, and it was like light bulb, you know. But I was also ready for that because I'd done all this other stuff. I already knew like that stuff was behind me because I'd already tried it.
Yeah.
Like maybe in the back of my head, I'm like, Avocare, maybe I still want to do that, but I already tried that. And so when this came about, you know, it was like natural.
There's something to be said about trying out a bunch of different things, man. Like people hate on you.
Yeah.
Especially, man, I bring up like boomers a lot, but there's like a boomer mentality. Like you have to go to school, you have to have it figured out. No one has it fucking figured out at that age, man. I don't care. Most people pursue certain things because their parents or whatever told them it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Or they had an in somewhere or whatever the case. But they usually pursue things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the facts. And so...
But you were
nothing wrong.
like you said, it was all in health and fitness. You were narrowing it down. That's all you were doing.
Yep.
And, and again, if you hadn't done anything in health and fitness, maybe your mom's thing would have been like, yeah, that's cool. But you kind of were already feeling that was your thing because you would put, you know, you tried shit. And so when that happened, you were like, oh, okay, this is what it is.
Trying shit's going to show you what you like and what you don't like.
Yep.
And you can get rid of some of it, but then you become more creative. You're like, man, I actually like this line of work. Like this is... And if anything, it just expands your mind a little bit, and then eventually you hone it in.
Also,
you know
we're at 30 minutes, so
we're 30 minutes.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Quick break. This is the Relentless Pursuit podcast, as you all know, and we would really love. Shit, man, I fucked that up, man. This episode is brought to you by Relentless Pursuit, and you are now watching the Relentless Pursuit podcast. Please go like, share, review, do all those things on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever other platforms there are. I believe we're on it. So
it really, really helps out the reviews.
Yes, it really does. And also, if you're a business owner, we are running an ad campaign for the show. The show's growing quick. We're getting it out there quite a bit. We're consistent. We're putting stuff out every single week, over and over and over again. And it's not going to stop. So if you're looking to get your business out there, hit us up, and we'll promote you. So, Antonio, tell us about what you do.
Boom. First off, man, y'all heard my man. Go run the numbers up, man. Subscribe to Relentless Pursuit, man. These boys out here doing some really big things out here right now. I am Antonio Ingram. I am an online fitness coach. You can find me on Instagram at Antonio Ingram Fitness. Also on TikTok at Antonio Ingram Fitness.
Nice. Hell yeah. Man knows what he's doing. All right. So,
we kind of picked up
when you got certified.
Started his business,
Yeah, so you got certified, you know, back in 16, 15, 16.
26, so 2015, 16. Got certified, 2016. And then what I decided to do was then I ended up, I was, what you call, you know, a shade tree, like mechanic is. Shade tree mechanic, like somebody who works on cars, but they're not in a shop.
Oh, okay.
You feel me?
Nah, I've never even heard that term, to be honest.
Yeah. So
I haven't either.
That's the kind of training I was doing, right? Just multiple gyms or people's houses or, you know what I'm saying, people's at the park, you know what I mean? Just trying to get some things going.
There's a good amount of trainers that do that now.
Oh,
I'd say.
hell yeah. So I don't blame them either. I'm like, hey, you feel me? Do your thing. But what I decided to do then was I'm like, okay, I'm going to get into actual gym. So I started training at Gold Gym in Smyrna.
Okay.
Right? Started training there. No, I lied. Let me go back. That's not where I started. I started UFC gym. I lied. Boom. Started UFC gym here in Murfreesboro.
UFC gym?
UFC gym. Yeah,
Is there one here?
Yeah,
there's one here.
I did not know
Or
that.
actually, in Murfreesboro, I didn't know there was.
Back in 2006, damn, man, I was a fucking baby back then.
Were you just trying to get into a gym, or did you do that because it was combat sports, or?
I did that because I needed to get into a gym, and then also coming up, my uncle's a professional boxer, right? So I already kind of had like that under my belt. So I was like, let me get in here, show them what I can do, and then they had me as like kind of like a boxing instructor, and then also as a personal training coach.
Oh yeah,
right. So
you got two combat sports participants / fans in the room. Yeah,
I love it.
I do like underground bare knuckle stuff. So.
I just bought
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Let me get mine out first before you do your. Every time I try to tell people I box, he comes in there with I do underground bare knuckle fighting. I broke a man's orbital bone the last time that we fought. I'm like, I do amateur boxing, so it's not really like.
See, I didn't even do that, bro. I just, like I said, my uncle was a professional boxer. So he used to train with Mayweather, Roger Mayweather. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not.
Oh, yeah.
Trained with him, and I just kind of picked up some stuff from him. I wasn't never in the ring, none of that. I just
yeah.
know a couple of things,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Pretty dope. Though.
It's cool, man. So,
It's a good skill set to have no matter what.
That part.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That part. So,
It's applicable to life.
Yeah.
All martial arts really is. So.
100%. Got to know how to defend yourself.
Yep.
100%. So, man, got to the UFC gym. I'm training, doing my thing there. I met a guy, man, who was the manager at that point, man. Shout out to TP, man, Terrence Pennington. He's actually an online coach as well.
Okay.
Man, so we call him Big T, right? So he used to play in the NFL, right? But met him there. He pretty much was my first mentor when it came to training.
Okay.
So he showed me the ropes, right? So I'm learning some things, but I'm also, getting my feet wet as far as how to sell.
Yeah.
Right. So it's crazy when I think about it because I knew how to sell, but not sell like training, which was harder than anything else I ever tried to sell before. Like I came up selling, like I said, I was a knucklehead, so as a kid, some things, you feel me? But also I sold AT&T services, like door to door, which is fucking brutal. I don't know if you ever done door to door. Anyone y'all ever done door to door sales before?
Nope.
I've done something similar. That thing, those people that set up the tents and they fix your windshield and shit while you're getting your gas.
I remember that.
Bro,
yeah,
that shit's
do they still
rough.
do that?
I don't do it anymore. I'll tell you that. I don't do it anymore. That shit is rough. I'll tell you what though. In about 48, I was only there for like 48 hours, and I did learn a few things because you have to like just walk up to people cold like that. Like you have to have strategy, you have to have confidence and like that kind of stuff. And I remember them saying, always find something on your way over to the car. Always find something to start a conversation about. And I think that served me well. Even like as we sit here, it's like I'll find something on you. Like I think that logo kind of looks like the Avengers logo, which is cool.
I appreciate that.
Right. So like
That's the first.
but like it's just noticing things and finding a place to start a conversation with somebody. So it's interesting. You learn some stuff
100%.
from people like that.
100%. Bro, which reminds me, so doing door to door, I'm finding shit that they got going on outside or something about the car or something like that, right? So I'll never forget, I'm going door to door. This is kind of segue from this a little bit, but I'm going door to door, working for AT&T, and I knock on the door, and the guy comes out with a pistol to my face.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying?
Were you doing it in a bad area or?
It didn't seem like a fucking bad area.
You weren't expecting that.
Yeah, so I'm like, the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? He's like, who the fuck told you to come here? Like, why are you here? And I'm like,
he must have been like a Verizon guy.
He had to be in, bro. No, I think it was Sprint, dog.
He must have been a
Yo, it's Sprint around here, bitch.
Oh my
Because
God.
Sprint going through some shit. Shout out to Sprint, dog. But yeah, man, I'm like, bro, like, I was like pointing at my shirt, like AT&T. He's like, bro, get the fuck away from here. You feel me? I'm like, I don't have shit on. I'm like, bro, my life. I'm like, yes. Get the fuck away, man. So that day, I was like, I went back to the office, like, here you go. Here's a clipboard. Here's everything you need. Like, yeah, I'm done with that.
After that happened, you did?
Yeah, hell yeah. This ain't it.
See, that's a
This
smart
ain't
man
for me,
right there.
bro. But then, went to selling meat out the back of a fucking truck. Man, have you ever seen those meat trucks?
Yeah, I actually bought a bunch one time when I was in the military. Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
What,
I was like, that's a good deal.
You talking
Hell
about
yeah.
just like raw meat?
It's frozen.
Like you'll
so
buy
that's
frozen.
But you'll buy a steak or whatever.
Yeah, so it's flash frozen meat, man. Seafood, steaks, chicken tenders, fries, man, the whole nine, man, in the back of a fucking truck, right? So I'm doing that. That was even worse because you got some real characters that you work with. You You know what I'm saying? Doing something like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I ran into some people who were on some real odd shit. But like I said, man, as far as the training, I had done so much other shit as far as sales, but that seemed to be the hardest thing. Like I could do, I ain't gonna say I'm the greatest, right, or anything like that, but I did well doing other kind of sales. But training was fucking hard. So there was some strategies that he taught me, Big T. And then I was like, okay, cool, I got this. I didn't have my business yet. I was just certified. Get my feet wet. Then I went to Gold's Gym in Smyrna, Tennessee, right, big box gym, to like pull even more. I'm like, the bigger the gym, right, I'm like, the bigger the more eyes, the more attention. We'll do it that way, right? So I'm there for 2 years, which is cool, still getting some knowledge, getting some information, but I don't have a mentor there, so I'm learning a lot of shit on my own, right? And they're not really feeding me, right, the clientele. You're literally like having to go out and, you know, get your own client, which makes sense, right?
Of course. Where was this at?
Gold's Gym in Smyrna.
Oh, okay. So they had you going out and getting your own.
You sit on the floor, you having right. So they would kind of like drip clients here and there, but it wasn't really feeding you clients, so you had to go out and get your own. So I'm like, well, I'm doing all this work, and they're giving me a small percentage of the pay. I might as well, you know what I'm saying, go do my own thing, right? So by this time, I was like, I don't have enough money to do in person, like get my own gym, right? I didn't have that. So this is why I mentioned earlier, I was like, I wish at that point, like online mentors and learning from people who have done it.
Was as big.
But it wasn't.
It's like, huge now.
It's huge now. Yeah. Man, it's funny, man. The girlfriend I had at the time, I mentioned to her, I was like, listen, I'm thinking of quitting the in-person, man, and doing online. I don't know if, like, you know how they say your phones pick up everything you fucking say? But literally an hour later, an ad on Facebook comes across my screen, and it's like, online trainers. If you, in-person fitness trainers. If you're looking to become an online trainer and start your online business, DM me, right? It was this guy, and I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. That's a sign, right? That's a sign from God, right? I'm like, or Apple just really listening in on my conversations, right?
Yeah, one or the other.
One or the other, right? So I messaged the guy, which is sketchy as hell. The girl I'm with at the time did not trust that shit. Bro, literally at this time, I had $500 to my name at this time on a credit card. That's it. I'm living with my girlfriend at the time. I'm living with her. This is not my place. I'm living with her. Like, got $500 to my name. I'm a struggling personal trainer at this time, right? I'm like, I'm going to give my last $500 to this stranger in hopes that he can help me, right?
Leap of faith.
The program wasn't even $500. The program was $2,000, but he let me, that's again a sign to me. He let me put down a deposit of $500, and I just need to give him the rest of the $1,500 a week later. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna figure the fuck out.
1 week.
Right? 1 week. So I gave him the $500. My girl was pissed. She was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, listen, I just need you to hold me down, right? Like, I know that was all the $500 I had, all the money I had, but just hold me down, right? So I make the money back within a day. I made the $500 back within a day, right? He taught me that quick how to get clients, right, online, right, which is great. He helped me in 1 month make what it took me 2 years to get up to doing in person. Wow. Right?
And that was all online stuff?
Online, all online. And I was like, bro, like, this is it.
Just from a video, like from a content creator standpoint, you know, especially in the beginning, I had a lot of personal trainers, and I had a couple football coaches even, and one of them is still one of my boys. But I've always told him, like, bro, this guy is doing like a full-time construction job and trying to train on the weekend, and like his dream was to just train. I'm like, you can do it this way, like, and I'll help you, you know, where I can, et cetera. I was like, but bro, at the end of the day, you only have so much time in the day.
Only.
Yeah. And so, like, the online training is really, like, you need to make some programs and sell those. You need to do this, that, and the other, because then you spend the time and the money and the resources to do it one time. You could sell those forever. So that's just money. You know, you'll make that money back, but the point is it's there now.
That part. And
you do that over and over again. You create a whole library of things and sell them very low. And there's 330 million people. That's a much bigger audience to hit than just the people in your area that can make time and that you can get to when they're available. You know, it's just like it's really not even comparable when it comes to the opportunity
at all, man. And it's crazy when I think about it, man. Because I like that I was making life. Well, to me, it was life changing because I no longer had to be in the gym. Which nothing wrong with being in person. So you in person trainers listening, nothing wrong with being in person. I just didn't want to get up at 4 a.m. to be there at 5 a.m. for a client who would potentially call call me and be like, hey, I'm not going to make it. And I got my ass up at 4 a.m. and I'm there at the gym at 5 and they don't show up.
I was training somebody at 5 a.m. this morning, man. But he lives, my boy Eric, he lives 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And he's got a big home gym, and like his guys come from that work for him.
Right.
There's like 4 of them I train at once. I mean, but they're consistent as fuck.
Oh,
so
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. I just hated those days where I would get up, be there, and then they would call and cancel. It happens, right? But I was training from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m., take a break, come back at 2, and then from 2 to 8 p.m. I'm training, right? Now, by that time, my daughter ended up coming to live with me. Well, she was about to, right? Me and her mother had a conversation. It's just crazy how life works, man. So
when did you have your daughter?
2019 and 2020. So right before the pandemic started.
Oh.
To like end of 2020. End of 2020. So I'm gonna touch on that here in a second because it's crazy how this whole situation happened. So the first month, I made enough money to stop doing in person. As soon as I made that money, I was like, yep, in person done. Right? I'm going all in here. The girl I'm with still isn't trusting it. Because this is a big leap of faith, right? But I'm like, again, trust me, right? So I'm doing my thing. Things are happening. Things are growing. I'm just going all in on the in person, right? And each month things are improving. Things are increasing, right? So I'm doing all online by this time. And my guy TP, who was my mentor at the UFC gym, right? 3 months in, I wanted to make sure like this was working. I wasn't gonna tell him shit yet because I didn't want to be that guy. All right? So I'm not telling him shit yet. So I started in July of 2019. October 2019, I tell him, I'm like, bro, like he was already doing online by himself. He didn't have a mentor yet, but he was already crushing it, right?
Yeah.
And I know him. I'm like, bro, like you, like get with the guy I'm working with right now. Like, you gonna kill this shit, right? So I introduced him in October that year, and it's funny, I never forget this conversation, man. He was like, bro, how the fuck you ain't tell me about this shit before? I had to make sure it worked first, right? So he gets in, we doing the deal. He doing his own deal, I'm doing my deal, but we working together. That makes sense as peers, right? Me and my daughter's mother had a conversation in November, right? Now, by this time, I'm doing all right in the online space, but it was something about needing to get my daughter and having her full time with me that it just changed everything for me, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm doing online, but I still had also a couple in-person people. I was still doing something in person.
Yeah.
But I knew, okay, I got to completely dead the in-person and go 100% online because I got to make sure to have time for her.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know, again, like getting up at 5 a.m., right? And then also being at the gym at night, it wasn't going to work having her because she had to be at school in the morning. Of
course.
And then I also had to make sure she was fed and dinner and bath and all that at night, right? So then I went all in, had my daughter, I'm going all in on the business, making sure things are taken care of, right? And now I'm 2 years in. I'm 3 years in now. 3 years in July, this past July, 3 anniversary being 100% online.
Congratulations.
Man, I appreciate that, bro.
Nice.
Which is crazy to hear, dog, because like when I think about it, you know how people say most businesses don't make it past what's that mark?
There's a lot of them fail in a year, but five years is another big mark, but a year and 3 years I think are both really big ones as well.
And I think about it, man, and a lot of people who I started out with doing this, and I look back and they're not there, and I'm shit, it really just is perseverance, man.
Yeah.
Bro, one of the greatest compliments I ever got was at the Music City Fit Expo, and I haven't talked to this guy since then. I still don't even work with him. I should have reached out. That's my bad if you're watching this somehow, but he came up to me and he's like, basically just said like, I want to work with you because I've seen you around here for years. Like you just haven't gone anywhere, basically. And like, it was just a simple thing to say, but I was like, appreciate that, bro. Like I didn't. And then I've also had people give me, which both of you are examples of this too. I've also had people you're a huge example of it with clothing because of your situation that was fucked. But of people saying like I guess it told them something about me that I was able to carry my business through the pandemic. Like that it was still around after the pandemic. And so I think 2020 is like regardless of when you started your business, because you had just started, you were a couple years in, I was a couple years in, but regardless, that alone to pull yourself through that and not give up on it or, I mean, fuck, dude, that's a big compliment as well. So
you got some perspectives, man. I didn't even think about it like that.
Dude,
I try to.
I launched my first shirts like a week after COVID started. I got my first shipment in, and then the tornado came through.
Yeah.
Went through Nashville. I had a shit ton of shirts. Because, of course, everybody's like, we're buying all your shirts. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I need to order a ton. And then But then tornado came through, and I went and donated a bunch of them. And then I went to Patagonia, Chile for like a couple weeks, for like 10 days. And while I was out there, that's when COVID started.
Got stuck.
Yeah, and then I got back right when COVID started and launched my stuff on my site. And I was like, fuck, okay, here we go. This is a pretty wild time to actually be starting launching shit because people aren't going to, they think everybody's going to lose their job and shit's going to hit the fan. They're not going to buy a T-shirt. So, yeah, it definitely forced me to be a little bit creative and just push.
Bro, I had to drop prices and everything just because people just didn't have money to pay for, and their businesses weren't open.
Yep.
So I had to get a side job, but I am proud of that. I would say that it stuck around until after. I would think.
It's crazy, man, because I feel like 2020 really showed us who we are as individuals.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know what I'm saying? And prove to you, that you got what it takes to really push through shit like that. And then I feel like now, the way y'all are crushing it, bro, they did nothing but what's the shit called? Propel. You know what I'm saying? Fucking y'all are soaring now.
At the end of the day, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to start a business. In theory, it's like, oh man, I would love to own my own business and do my own thing.
Right.
But it takes a lot of fucking work, man. It takes a lot of work. I don't got investors or anything, man. It's I'm doing it all on my own.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of risk and it's a lot of you can get in the back of your head every once in a while, the anxiety and shit, and be like, fuck. But
I have a buddy of mine who plays. He's got the best personality in the world, dude. And he plays video games all the time, and he's a couple years older than me, and he's just. I do love him to death, but I haven't hung out with him in a couple of years. And part of the reason why is because I can't, dude. I'm just he's just one of these guys that's still talking about a good game that he had when he was a sophomore in high school. And he's he's older than me. He's almost 30 years old. And he's, just not really, I don't know what he's doing, and I'm not trying to judge him, but I was basically like, bro, it's 2020 at the time. Last time I was talking to him, I'm like, sit down, put a camera on you, become a 2K streamer. It sounds crazy, but if it took 3 or 4 years, and now you're a professional 2K streamer, and you had to keep working these side jobs in between there. But now, when it's over with, you're there.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Time gonna pass anyway.
Right. And exactly. Time's gonna pass anyway. So, to everybody's point here, I agree with you about the perseverance. Of course, there's other ingredients that you could talk about, get in depth on it. But you asked me how I not made it, but how I'm here right now. It's 100% just the fact that I just stubbornly didn't give up. I just refused to.
Yeah, and to touch on that, talking about your friend. That brings up a good point. It's all about the people you surround yourself with as well. I don't know, man.
Well, I got tired of saying that to him.
Organically, the people that aren't trying to progress in their life tend to really not be there anymore for the most part. Everybody in my life wants to do big, badass shit, and they're pushing forward and they're accomplishing killer things, and it's just the way, man. Yeah. You surround yourself with the right people, you're all going to fucking crush it. Yeah. Some people end up being dead weight. It's unfortunate, but it just, I don't know, priorities, man.
Yeah. You put yourself in the right containers, man. You're not in a container with goldfish. You're in a container full of sharks.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you were a goldfish at that point, right, it forced you to become a fucking shark because shit, you're going to get fucking eaten.
Well, you talking about too, the people you surround yourself with, is it better to be the big fish in a really small pond? Or is it is it better to be there's this guy that I knew, actually, you probably know him too, I won't mention him, but he, back when Gorilla was starting, I moved over there because we were all working out at 24. That was right in front of it. It's just this very, it was just not a good atmosphere for wanting to go in there and, lift 415 on deadlift and it just wasn't an aggressive enough atmosphere. I don't know. And so as soon as Gorilla opened, that was mainly the reason why I moved over there, because I go over there and people working out hard and they're slamming weight. It's the right kind of atmosphere.
Right.
And this individual I'm talking about, just love to put on a show at 24 instead of coming over there and not being the strongest guy in the gym, and I was just like, all right, well, good luck with that.
No, thanks.
But back to something you were saying too, you said so when you were doing this, you're trying to get your daughter full-time, correct? Mm-hmm. Were you still with that girlfriend at the time? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's something I wonder about too. And
shout out to her, man, because she definitely held me down until a point in time.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, she was like, oh God, don't do that. She was scared, and, nothing against, this isn't to all women, but I think naturally, genetically, women are creatures of comfort, correct? So, and you look back at history, man, the men were the warriors that went out and conquered lands, and the women took care of the homestead. So I think it's just a genetic thing over time. Now we're in a different time and place.
Yeah.
But a lot still think that way. I I think, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been in relationships where actually almost every relationship I've been in, it's like, do the safe thing, be smart, this is comfortable, like don't do nothing crazy, stay in the military or whatever. But it's, when I met Lydia, I was talking about doing this. And she's like, what are you waiting for? Like, you're going to do it. You're going to crush it. I believe in you. And I was like, fuck, man. And that's honestly, it's very rare to find that, man. It's very rare to find women in your life that are going to like, or that goes for anybody. Find a significant other in your life that is going to tell you to just jump off, because essentially they're a part of it too. So they're taking a lot of risk by supporting you, but if they believe in you that much, man, that's something worth holding on to. So
facts. When I think about it, man, I was like, maybe at that point in time, I hadn't really proven, I didn't have a track record yet. You know what I'm saying? For her to really see that in me.
Oh, and had that faith. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
But at this point,
she's like, man, you haven't been that consistent for a long time.
That part, you know what I mean? So it was like, I understood that too. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure now it probably wouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? Because now I've kind of proven it, right? Like you said, it is rare. Yeah. It is rare to find
Very
that.
rare.
So when you do, bro, I keep them people close, man.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
Need people like that, man. Absolutely. Bro, it's crazy, man. Shout out to, man, because I keep talking about this mentor who, he really just changed my fucking life, man. Shout out to B Mark Fit, man. Him and Cole De Silva, man. The boys out in Canada. Their online training program, man. He helped fitness coaches go from being in person to full-time online. And boys changed my life over the course of the last 2.5, 3 years.
Nice. That's pretty sick, man. I don't know. I might have to ask you for some tips.
No,
I do. There's a time and place. I mean, I love training people in person, and there's the cool thing about the in-person training. One thing I love is like the relationships I build with these people. It grants you the opportunity to make some really good connections, like my clients that I have, I mean, they're crushing it in life and what they do. And, quickly they become friends.
Right.
But they also do some pretty badass stuff. And it's just really good connections moving forward in the future for different opportunities as I want to expand. So there's a time, like I said, there's perks to both. But, especially if you're tied down with kids and you've got a lot less free time, the online way, if you can do that full time, that's a golden ticket right there.
100%.
For sure, man.
Facts.
So moving forward.
What's that?
Moving forward, so you were talking about, so you started training,
He's like, what you talking about, bro?
Yeah, what's going on? Nah. But so as far as the online space, right? So that's like I said, I've been doing it 2.5, 3 years now. So right now where I'm at, man, is really, I just been focusing on just growing this online coaching empire, basically. Of
course.
Right? So at that point in time when I started, I didn't really have like a niche, I guess, so to speak, like training in general. But now I'm kind of more so niched down, which has been working for us. And here recently, Sabrina Fisher, more recently brought on an assistant coach, bringing on more coaches here in the future, right? Really just now starting to become like a team. It's more so been me for a while.
Of course.
And so from there, man, just really seeing where things can go, and just really stepping into the vision of what I see over the course of the next 3, 5, 10 years. Yeah,
because why not create an empire with your name? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And Sabrina seems pretty legit, man.
Awesome.
I can't wait to get her on here and hear her story about, she's.
Oh yeah, y'all get ready for that, man. She's gonna blow y'all minds, man. She is definitely top tier.
Hell yeah. No, she's super rad. I'm stoked for that, man. So I know one thing I noticed is that you cater more towards like females, correct? With your coaching. Why'd you choose that path?
Man, it's two parts to that. So, I mentioned my mother, right? And how busy she was coming up, and I seen how that affected, right, not just her, but other people around her.
I do see you post that a lot about single moms, like do this workout if you don't have a lot of time because you're a single mom. Like he specifically uses that terminology.
Because I know if my mother had that, she wouldn't have went through a lot of the situations she went through, right? The stress and out of the hospital due to stress and different things like that, right? So I help in that area, but also too, man, it more so chose me to a degree, right? Like that was more so when I first started, and just as a coach in general, most of my clients have been women. So I figured, you know what? Instead of being general, which is nothing wrong with being general, right? But if I wanted to, in my opinion, grow a lot larger and really dial in, I had to be more specific. Yeah. And I also enjoy working with these individuals too, because man, these ladies go hard, right? So I'm like, cool, boom, let's do it.
Hell yeah, man. So what other things do you do is along with the online coaching? You do the coaching. I know y'all do group fitness stuff.
Yeah. So we recently, man, started like a community, like give back kind of fit camp on Saturdays. About 5-6 weeks ago. Started like a community fit camp. We do just pretty much give back. It's a free fit camp. We do between Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Smyrna, and in Nashville.
Okay.
And we just alternate back and forth.
All right.
Just to kind of give back, man. Invite people out to work out with us. You get a good sweat in, because health is wealth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, if you ever want to utilize this space for something like that, let me know,
listen,
man.
Definitely, bro. I'll take you up on that opportunity.
Yeah, I'll make it happen, dude.
100%. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, man. We're all trying to grow.
Yeah.
There's an abundance out there. I spoke to somebody about this yesterday, man. But people are reluctant on getting into certain careers, or they want to do their own thing, right? And they're like, well, I don't know. There's so many trainers out there already.
Right.
But there's billions of people out there.
Facts.
And not one trainer is going to coach billions of people.
Like
That's
6,
fucking
7
impossible.
billion? Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a ton of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you're consistent, you put it out there and you really bust your ass, it's going to grow. There's, we spoke about with Roy Ingram, the athleisure market is $174 billion. Damn. I just need a slice of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need $174 billion.
Facts.
But there's an abundance out there, so we should all work together. And that's why, I'd love to have you here, and get you guys to be able to use this space and stuff like that, man. I mean, have your classes.
I love that mindset, bro. Because like you said, and my thing is just always thinking abundance. Because like you said, the markets are saturated no matter where you go. You know what I mean? But nobody's you.
Yep.
And
everybody thinks you have to be cutthroat. Especially in past years, the older generations, they think you got to be cutthroat with business because, if I don't make it to the top, if I'm going to make it to the top and nobody else will, I'm going to be the top dog, but we can all be at the top.
They have the attitude of if you get something, like if you're doing well, that means you've taken something from me.
That part.
And that's a scarcity mindset.
Yeah. But
because that's there's only so much available. So if you take it, I mean, technically there is, but you could never touch even, again, like what you're talking about the apparel, I don't know what the math is, but even if you had 0.5% of that, you think, well, that's not fucking anything. It's it's probably, $2, $3, $5 million a year. So I don't know. Is that nothing? It's is that nothing to you?
I just want 50%. nothing crazy.
And with the podcast and stuff too, we talk about if you have 100 dedicated, going to watch every episode. If you put a code in, they're going to use it. You don't need. Doesn't have to be the biggest podcast in the world to be successful.
Exactly. There's a lot of damn opportunity out there for everybody, man. All right, Antonio, a couple more things before we close out for the day, for this episode. So go back to when you were saying, you're talking about when you were first getting started, man. It was a little bit of a struggle getting going. You're having some hard times. Emphasize on that a little bit because I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, because you're going to have a struggle to get where you want to be. So tell us about that.
100%, man. So getting started, man, I'll touch back on, let's say, the 15, talked about, leaving the house, right, kind of finding my way, grandmothers, uncles, cousins there, leaving town, moving out, right, headed towards quote-unquote college, right, but in between that year I took between high school and college, right, was literally at a car I had, I was living in that car. Right, not the entire year, but a certain part of that time, right, until I could find somewhere to be.
Okay.
Came to college because, and it's crazy when I think back on it. The chick moved up here. I also was I'm tired of in and out, living in the car, living with other people. If I come move up here, at least I have a dorm.
Yeah.
I have somewhere to stay.
Of course.
Right, somewhere warm. There's food
that's a plus,
there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's food there too, right? So I'm here. Right. Okay. Boom. Drop out. I got a girlfriend at the time. I'm living with her, right? So I had a situation happen where my background got fucked up, right? And I wasn't able to get a place. So I had to live with her.
Okay.
Right? So I'm living with her. She's a good girl. And things are cool. But we end up going through a situation. I decide, hey, it's time for me to leave. I'm back to living out of my car again, right? So I'm living out of my car. This is me 25 at this point.
You're shit, not this again.
Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. But it is what it is. Again, I couldn't get a place not the worst background, but based on a felon, right? So they frown upon that, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I ended up finding a place or a rental situation that allowed me to get a spot. So I'm having to wait. I'm on a wait list because so many people have similar situations, right?
Yeah. So
I'm on a wait list for 2 months. So I'm living out of my car. I'm washing up at the gym. So I'm a trainer at this point. washing up at the gym, right, and living in my car. Nobody knew this, right? No one had any idea. Yeah, I'm just playing it out. No one had any idea. Finally, end up getting a little townhouse, sleeping on an air mattress, had no furniture. Bro, I'll never forget this. I was talking to a chick at the time, and I'm like, you know, she didn't know I was living out of my car, right? My mom was at her place. But end up bringing her to the house. She walks in, she looks around, there's nothing there. She's like, where's your shit at? And I was like, oh, it's on the way, right? A week went by. She comes back. She walks in, she's like, where's your shit at? I was like, oh, it's on the way.
Man, shipping right now.
It's on the way. And I'll never forget the look that she made, bro. I never heard from her again once she left. You know what I'm saying? That time.
But you say you never forget that look.
Bro, I never forget that look, man, because it was like and I ain't gonna say I hate to say it is life. It is what it is. I'm 25, 26 at the time, and I'm like, I felt like I was supposed to have my shit together, right? But I didn't.
That's a common theme, man. But a lot of people think they're supposed to have their shit together at the time. Most people don't.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, I didn't have my shit together. I'm like, no one's going to fuck with me at this point where I'm at. Like, I'm starting ground zero.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not winning right now. Right? And I'm like, oh, that's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It forced me to like go harder. I'm like, okay, I like got to get on my shit, right? So I get the apartment or the townhouse, right? After living in my car for a few months, and I'm in my head. I just have I have a air mattress on the floor, and I have a little TV sitting on the ground against the wall, right? And in my mind, I'm like, bro, shit has to be better than this, right? So I'm training. I'm a struggling trainer. I also get a second shift job. All right. So I'm training during the day.
You're working
and I'm working a second shift job.
Yeah.
And I'm sleeping probably about 5-6 hours a night. Right. I'm just hustling. Little by little, shit started to change. Started to get a little bit of piece of furniture in the townhouse. Right now, I got a couch. Right. Okay. You feel me? I had to get it off of Craigslist, but it is what it is. You got to start.
Did you hit this girl back up? Like, hey, I got my furniture came in.
I was blocked.
Damn.
Yeah, I was blocked at that point, man.
You know, looking back, you kind of wish you could have been. You know, that's the whole thing too. It doesn't matter now, but it's kind of like, hey, I'm starting over with my life. Like, it is what it is.
And it showed me true colors.
Yeah, of course, because she wanted all the things, all the stability, but.
And it made sense, man. You know what's crazy, and a lot of people say this, and it may or may not be true, right? But that kind of chick at that time, like, I was able to put on a facade like I had it going. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's what she was into, you know? So then when I seen her, cause I seen her on social media at one point, she was with somebody who actually looked like, I don't know if they really had it or not. I was like, oh, that's why I didn't have it. So you're the kind of chick, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know you can get someone who has it. Why would you be here with me?
Now, did she have it going on?
Well, what I was going to say is that, you know, like we talk about this a lot, but about things happening when they're supposed to and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if you would have had all the stuff and you would have, then maybe she would have stayed, but that's not what was supposed to happen. You wouldn't have wanted to be with her. So it happened how it was supposed to.
Yeah. There it is. Did she have all the stuff? I don't really know, man, to be honest. Like, to say all the stuff, she had herself together, I'll put it that way.
Okay.
In a lot better position than me. I had a kid by that time. She was kidless.
And I don't mean by stuff. I just think, like, you know, she doing well.
Like what she wanted to do.
Doing well in life, you know, because that's, you know, you get a lot of people, and this goes on both sides. They'll want somebody that has their shit together.
Right.
But then they don't have their shit together, or vice versa. And it's like, you know, we should both be pulling our weight in some way, some fashion.
That part, and like I said, it taught me a lot, man, because it was like an eye opener, like, shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like, people do want to feel, I guess, equally yoked. And when she realized, oh, he, you know what I'm saying, he's struggling right now. Like, you know, I'm going to hold him down or I'm not. And we wasn't at that point, you know what I'm saying, to where she was like, oh yeah, I'll sleep under a bridge with you type shit. It wasn't that, which I get, it's cool. Yeah. And when I say that kind of chick, because I guess, quote unquote, she labeled herself like a, you know, bad bitch or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I deserved this status of a man. And I was able to put that facade on for so long, but then when it came down to it, I didn't really have it like that. I wasn't able to buy her this, that, and the third, which again makes sense on what you just said to your point, you know what I'm saying? That point in time, that wasn't meant, that, you know what I'm saying? It was meant to happen the way that it was.
No.
Yeah. Things play out how they should, man.
Things play out the way they should. But it's crazy when I think about it, because that shit had happened so many times. I'm like, damn, like as a, and again, it pointed out to me, because as a man, I'm like, am I going to be able to have someone really hold me down when I'm going through shit, which played in my mind even more because I'm on an air mattress in this townhouse, just me. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was better than being in that fucking car where I cried myself to fucking sleep, you know what I'm saying? But still, being in this townhouse for months on this air mattress, and I'm like, not only do I have to train during the day, but I also have to work at night for I'm working 16-hour days for a whole year and a half.
Yeah.
To stack some shit together, just to get the minimal, right? But it's okay because it's teaching me some shit. I'm learning, right? I'm building character, right?
And that's the thing that matters, man. You're learning from this, dude, and it's shedding a lot of light on where you want to be and what you have to do to get there. Yeah. You know, 100%. And it was just a season, man.
100%. Well, shit, that season was long as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
It was a long ass season.
Yeah, it was a long ass winter, man. And again, to go back to the point of like feeling like I was supposed to have my shit together, because I'm like, damn, I already been through this before at this point. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why did it seem like it was taking me a lot longer to really get where I need to get to? Of course. But I hadn't learned to learn yet. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part is I kept having situations happen over and over again because it was a lesson in that I wasn't learning yet. And what I realized was life's going to keep happening. Like you'll have situations or people come in and out that'll be different people, different situations, but they're all the same. Yeah. Because life is showing you something that you haven't learned yet to get to that next level. Exactly. And until I learned the lesson, I couldn't get to that next level, and I wasn't understanding it then.
Well, it's peaks and valleys, man. Yeah. You know, like I always think like everybody's going to hit valleys at some point consistently, man. It's just life. Yeah. That's the cycle of things. But those valleys are the time to learn. Yep. That's where the lessons are shown. Yep. So I just, you just embrace it.
No, 100%.
So 100%. Get through that valley, start climbing that mountain again.
100%.
Get to the peak.
And that's easier said than done. Like we talked about with the perseverance, man, and like why you're still here, why I'm still here, right? That perseverance of, and sometimes I say to myself, I'm like, damn, maybe I was just like foolish and like I've just been foolish enough to keep fucking going. No matter how hard.
I said stubborn. Yeah, like just stubborn.
No matter how hard.
Like maybe I probably shouldn't have. When I shouldn't have. When I'm like my family's worried about me type stuff, and it's like no, I cannot give this up. Like right before the situation happened with me and you in the spring of 2020, whenever he started his business, he made a significant investment in me as far as like I want you to work with me and bought a lot of hours. And what I told him just recently about that was that that I was just in a terrible spot. I mean, I was at that point. One of a few times that I've been there where I was like, I really don't know. Like I know that I don't want to give up, but at the same time, like nothing's fucking happening.
Now, question: did you have because for me, I had like pretty much like a chip on my shoulder because going through the shit I had went through, like I said, I come from a single parent household. I wouldn't come from a bad household, right? Yeah. But again, mother working through 2-3 jobs,
it wasn't
4
easy.
Kids, you feel me? And I'm out here on, you know what I'm saying, hanging with certain people. Like, you know what I'm saying? You pick up on certain shit, right?
Of course.
And my family knew I knew better, knew I was better than that, but it started to become like, oh, like this is what's wrong. We're not fucking with that. So I started to have family members like not fuck with me, people not fuck with me, friends not fuck with me, right? And I kind of had like a chip on my shoulders where it's like, oh, I have them already not doing that. Now the women who I'm involved with also, you know what I'm saying, or like, you know what I'm saying, you don't have your shit together. Like I'm not fucking with you. It's like nobody was fucking with me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, alone type shit. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, have a chip on my shoulder, like, I have to prove each and every person wrong and prove myself right that I can do this shit.
No, for sure. I mean, for me, I was just going to say that whenever, for the business was one thing, but the big one for me was whenever I started my YouTube channel, because I left school to do that. Mm-hmm. So like I left school to do a YouTube channel. It sounds ridiculous. It sounded ridiculous then. It sounds ridiculous now. But like at that point, I was like, well, I said I was going to make this happen. And if I'm 3 years in, 4 years in, and again, that's stubbornness. If it's not happening, then at some point, you need to make a decision that's good for you. Mm-hmm. Like the NBA thing we were talking about. At some point, you got to make that decision. But again, stubbornness, like you said, I just didn't. And for the YouTube channel, that was a big thing. And for the business, it was like, I know that this is my vehicle. And that's the story that I was going to tell. I don't think you know this part, but I got offered a job right before that. And again, I'm like, I should have taken it. Like, I'm in that kind of spot. Like, my mom's telling me to take it, like whole 9 yards. Yeah. But I would have been doing video work for $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, whole thing. And so they wanted to hire me just based on what I'd done so far, which is great. Like most people wouldn't even get that opportunity. But it was like, well, if I do that, I'm not going to be able to grow my business. Yeah. And it's like, so I had to make a choice with less than $0 in my account. Yeah. No clients on the radar, nothing. And even with all that, I was like, dude, I can't take this job because if I
fucking
do, my business is gone. And then
Yeah.
a couple weeks later, you get this guy come across and saves my shit. And it's like, I believe in very much so that like, whenever you bet on yourself, it will always,
Bro,
it will
tenfold.
always.
Yes.
Man, listen,
And that's
bro.
what I did in that moment. I was like, I'm not doing this. I know it sounds stupid and where I'm at right now makes no sense, but I just know that this is what I'm gonna do. So I just did it anyway.
Bro.
And then the universe rewarded me.
I got to show you this shit. Literally, when I say in 2019, when I went from the in-person, like only $500 to my name, that wasn't really to my name. It was on a credit card, right? It's not even my money, right? I made a post on Instagram that said exactly what you just said, bro. Because without even having anything, you know what I'm saying? Car breaking down. My car was shitty.
nothing.
I
Yeah, I
had
hear you,
nothing
bro,
going on. I'm
same.
living with my girlfriend. I didn't have a place on my name. I didn't have shit going on. Right?
I was living at that time. I was living with Dakota, and I had to live with Dakota because I had to move out of my mom's house because we were arguing all the time. Because I was like, you just got to stick with like I have to stick with this. You got to stick with me. But she's watching me struggle. It's like a whole thing. It's like $15 an hour, 40 hour a week guarantee. I was like, fuck, dude, and it's in video work. But I was like. But it's not my business though.
It's not, yeah,
But
you're
it's
not betting on
business,
yourself
though.
by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to touch on the chip on the shoulder thing though.
Talk to me.
There's a lot of people, I mean, people will tell you over and over again, like, you don't got to prove nothing to nobody. But man, honestly, I find it as a positive thing. Like, because there's people that lose faith in you or burn you and you're like, all right, fucking watch. I don't think that's a negative thing, but people make it come off that way. Just like comparison, you know, you often get told, don't compare yourself to others. Well, as an entrepreneur, whatever you're pursuing, you're competing against other people, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I compare myself to people
I
all the
agree.
time. Where's their business at? Like, I want to get there. I want to surpass that. There's so many things. Even when I'm in the gym, like I compare myself to others. Like, and I think, yes, there's that line. It can be either unhealthy or it can be productive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting there on your ass, scrolling through Instagram, comparing yourself to everybody else and just moping about it, yeah, that's bullshit. But if you're like, man, they're fucking crushing it, I want to be past that, then it's a whole different story. But you got to make it happen. You got to be productive. You got to take the steps to move there.
Yeah,
so I always compare myself, man. I was actually writing about that yesterday because I think that's something people push all the time. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to others and fucking kick ass.
Use it as aspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Inspiration. Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
I always come back to balance because I just think that's the biggest thing. And like just my example for that, dude, I have literally zero idea what another videography company is even called.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know
Yeah.
what one's called. I don't know what they do. I don't know who. I literally have no clue whatsoever. And for me, I do that because like I can't compare myself, like because I do feel that what I'm doing is different.
Yeah.
And I believe in like, you know, the way that I'm doing it. And like if I look at somebody else, oh man, that looks really good. Yeah, well, I don't have 4K cameras because I don't want to have 4K cameras. So what, like, I don't know. I just don't, I'm just painting the other side, like where I literally have no clue.
Well, I get what you're saying too. What you're doing is what you
no
want to
idea.
do, what your goal is different.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that as well. Like my message isn't the same as anybody else. Why? Because my story is different than everybody else's.
Yeah.
You know, we all got our own story, especially when it comes to apparel or whatever. But you're still, I don't know, man. You get what I'm saying though.
Right.
No,
No,
I mean,
100%.
and you need to studying
Plus
other
I
people.
see, and I see brands. I mean, brands are always in my face. I see them everywhere. So
That
it's
part.
like, it's almost unavoidable. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
That's
who
true
are these
too.
guys?
Yeah, that's true too.
And like I said, it's good to take, you know what I'm saying, inspiration, not to copy them or to feel, like I said, if it's in a comparison where you feel less than, then that's not a good thing,
Yeah.
right? But if you're like seeing it like, oh, hell yeah, I see that motherfucker crushing it, they doing well, or I see how they doing it, how can I do it just a little bit, or even, not even a little bit, but a lot of bit better, right?
Yeah.
And shit, that's okay.
Exactly.
Absorb what's useful, discard what's not.
There it is.
Add what is uniquely your own.
There it is.
That's Bruce Lee for you right
I
there,
like
boys.
that. I like that.
But comparison is also the thief of joy is a good saying. So if
Yeah.
if we're looking at this podcast, like, oh fuck, look at this other podcast doing 150K. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They used to be me though. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I used to look at other people, other creators, other coaches, and then I'm like, shit, how this motherfucker, like, you know what I'm saying? I know, goddamn, like, how come my shit isn't hitting like that, right? But then I'm like, I'm shitting on the people who, I thought about it, I'm like, but I'm shitting on the people who do support me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm just
that's
thinking that, like, what the fuck? Even if I only got 2,000 views, that's 2,000 people. Like, imagine that's how many people is 2,000?
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. With the
It's a lot.
we talk about this a lot. The big numbers.
Yeah.
We have a big numbers problem right now.
Yeah.
In everything. There's just so many people. There's so many views. There's so many posts. There's so many. It's so hard to have good perspective on it. And like
Right.
whenever I do social media consults, I tell people, do not look at the numbers. Look at the percentage growth. Look at the percentage growth. Because if you go from 100 to 140 or to 150, that's a fucking 50%. That's good news.
It's good
Just because
news.
you're not at 2,000 or a million, you know, doesn't mean that that's that's bad. So yeah.
That's our time.
Yeah,
Joe letting us know, y'all. It's our time, man. He like, told you get the fuck out of here.
No. Well, it is too, though. I know you got to get somewhere
Yeah.
relatively soon. One more question. So,
Yeah, talk to me.
Moving forward, what's your relentless pursuit, man? Where are you trying to get to? What's your next step? You know, elaborate on that just a little bit.
Man, that next level. So this is shot, like I said, them boys at B Mark Fit and Code and Silver. They have a program called PT Dom. So it's PT Domination. All right. So my goal right now is to get to the top 1% of that program. I'm in the top 10 right now.
Okay.
Right. So that's 5 figures plus a month. Right. But top 1% is 6 figures plus a month. So literally that container that I'm in, my goal is to always become top 1% of that container. So I'm just highly competitive, man. I just love to win. I love to be surrounded by winners.
That's badass, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're rooting for you, dude. I can't wait
Appreciate
to
it.
see where you go.
I had one more thing. I remember what I was going to say.
Okay. All right.
The chip on the shoulder thing. Personally, I found a lot more motivation from wanting to prove to people that supported me right.
Yeah.
I love
Personally.
that. I love that. You know what? I'm gonna add that to me because I say proving myself right, but also now in this part of life, I see the people that do support me more. Because like I said, I didn't have that, and maybe I did. I just realized it, but I feel like I had more people who were rooting against me than I did people that support me.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
I'll tell you what, and I didn't want to add on that as well because I've had some people fall off or, you know, whatever the case is, but it's forced me to narrow that vision. And I wrote about this is that group photo we posted, you know, I talked about how these people, like, they've been there since the beginning, you know, or like showing that organic, true love and support. A lot of people say they support you, but they show their true colors. But then you see the people that don't get nothing for free. They don't ask for shit. But they do show by their actions, by being present and all those things that they do truly support. And so, yeah, touching on that, what you were saying is, you know, the people that fucking believe in you, prove yourself to them. Like, hey, thank you for believing in me. It was worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's pretty important, but hell yeah, we're all going to kick
agree.
ass, man. I'm stoked for you, and I'm glad you came in
Likewise.
here today, man. I think you got a great story, and I think you got a very relatable story to a lot of individuals out there.
I appreciate
so
it.
they can see what you've been through, where you came from, and here you are now, and you're crushing it, and you're just going to be taking it to whole other levels, man. So I'm stoked to see what you do, man, and hopefully we can all work together and make things happen. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Can I touch on something real quick? When
Yeah, go for
I mentioned my relentless pursuit right now become top 1% of
Yeah.
the program I'm in now. It's not so much the money that's like the driving force, but it's more so what I can do with the money.
Oh,
You know
of course.
And because right now, I could do some things, quote unquote, but there's bigger impact that I want to make outside of just earning a lot of money. I want to be able to help more people
there with you.
overseas, give back, you know what I'm saying, things like that. And I can build and make sure the people that care about me are taken care of as well.
And so, that's important. I mean, that was a big motivating factor as far as me moving into this space.
Yeah.
Was, now we got the charity event coming in a couple weeks. So I'm having I got like 10, 15 vendors. I've got the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center of Murfreesboro coming here, and we're raising money towards that. Like, I couldn't have done that until this space, you know, and now I got this event going on, you know, within months of opening this place. And it's giving back, it's doing something productive, something meaningful, and it has nothing to do with me or doesn't, do anything for me except, hey, here we are doing positive shit. And I think it's really cool, man, making steps in order to, as you grow, helping everybody else out and do the best you can for them. So
What they say, man, a rising tide raises all ships.
yes, sir. Damn right. I love that. So, and I've heard that before. I don't know where it came from.
I don't know either, but shit, there it is.
Hell yeah, there it is.
I love it.
But anyways, well, Antonio, thank you for coming, man. Looking forward to having you again.
Yes, sir.
We'll get you and I believe Shelby on here as
Sabrina.
well.
Yep.
Or Sabrina.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get her on here as well.
Whoopsie
And-
daisy.
It's all
Oopsie
good.
daisy. Hey,
happens.
close. I'm terrible with names, but thanks for coming, man. And got anything to add?
Bro, like I mentioned, man, make sure y'all subscribe to this man's podcast, YouTube, man. Joe, Logan, man, these guys are fucking phenomenal. I appreciate you all for having me on it. Y'all, this is my first fucking podcast, man. And these, man.
You killed it.
See what I'm saying? I was about to say, man, I feel comfortable. I feel good. This is a great vibe. And I appreciate you once again for having me on.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks, Antonio, for coming. Y'all be sure to check him out. Also, appreciate you, Logan, for doing what you do always and fixing the noises and all that shit. But yeah, definitely go subscribe, share, rate, all the things. Help us get out there, push these stories. And we appreciate you for coming.
Awesome.